Hello! Welcome back to That Buzzing Sound. Thank you for stopping by and hitting play. It means the world to me that so many of you continue to hear the stories behind some of our favorite featured artists. On today's program, we're heading back across the pond to pay a visit with Maltese, now London-based, eco-friendly, indie earth pop duo Berne, who have been working non-stop since our worldwide lockdown occurred. Not only have they put out 2 separate EPs in the past few months, which I'll cover in a second, but they also just launched a 100% solar-powered, low-impact band website to coincide with the long-awaited release of their meaningful EP entitled Stay. Stay collects their buzzworthy, thought-provoking singles like To the Lions, its title track, and Oceans, with an acoustic for the latter as a nice bonus, alongside the previously unheard Heat, which I absolutely love, thus providing a handful of beautifully touching anthems about our planet, its creatures, and the hope and despair that speaks from within during these troubling times. Though I hear these songs as more of a warning sign, if you catch my drift. Berne also released their To the Earth EP back in August, which features short lyrical snippets of meaningful, somewhat protest-fueled classics from Joni Mitchell, MIA, Radiohead, and Louis Armstrong to create, and I quote, a strong connection to life in 2020. I caught up with Berne a few days after performing live at the Extinction Rebellion protests in London, which led into a fantastically deep chat about our current world and how their music and promotion continues to be shaped by what's going on all around us. This is my conversation with Deborah and Gianluca, better known as Berne. So, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I saw that you were a part of the peaceful Extinction and Animal Rebellion protests in London recently. What did you think of the whole experience?
Hello, and thank you for having us. So I guess our music is largely driven by environmental issues, social change. So those are things that we really strongly believe in, and also want our music to be a vehicle for them, and lending our voices to the protests, the September protests of Extinction Rebellion and Animal Rebellion, sounded and felt like the right thing to do. We were there just, supporting the protesters, the rebels, and just giving them some music to listen to while they were doing their work.
Yeah, there was a chance that we wouldn't perform because obviously, as things happen with protests, you don't really know what's gonna, you can't plan things out, can you? But we sort of knew that if the chance came, we would be performing because Animal Rebellion, Extinction Rebellion got in contact with us. And it was cool because we were going to go anyway, so
and we got to perform.
It was great.
Oh, that's fantastic. Is there any challenges or fears that come from performing in that type of could be unstable environment?
Yeah, I guess leading up to it, we were feeling a bit, not at ease. But I guess if you act, I guess, responsibly, and I guess if you're asked to stop, then if you want to stop, then you stop. If you don't want to stop and want to take it further and make a point by getting arrested, which is, I guess, what Extinction Rebellion and Animal Rebellion, that is the idea, I guess, behind the movement. I think if you stop when you're asked to stop, if that's a thing, that's going to be okay. But there was some tension leading up to it.
I was pleasantly surprised by the preparation that Animal Rebellion and Extinction Rebellion went through, and how much effort they put in keeping everything peaceful and organized. And I mean, unfortunately, it's really not like what the media is portraying. If you go there, then you'll see. And I was really surprised as well to see that they kept to COVID guidelines with encouraging everyone to wear masks. The first thing they told us was, you could be up to 2 people performing, and you have to wear masks at all times. So, except when you're performing. And I was like, oh, okay. So, except apart from all the other stuff, which is the reason for which the protest exists, they're also keeping these things in mind, which I think is really important, because you don't want to send the wrong message.
Yeah, and it was done in a peaceful way. There were people, singing like chants, which is really empowering, and making art, hanging about, having some food, and it was really a beautiful sight to see in Parliament Square, which doesn't normally look like that, let's say.
Yeah, most especially, and I especially like the Instagram video that you posted of the. Was it like your friend, or like was there a fan like singing along with you?
I actually don't know the person, and I didn't get the chance to speak to them after the show. But they seem to really, really vibe with Stay. Maybe they'd heard it before, or maybe they thought it was so catchy that they learned it from this. They were singing along when I was doing the second chorus from the first chorus, but yeah, I was really happy to see that and say, oh, actually, people know the song and people are singing along to it.
It is a real shame that we didn't get to speak to the person after the show.
If you are listening, this person, please get in touch. We'd love to have a chat with you.
Help us find this person.
And that's the next webpage. It's like, where can we find this awesome fan who found this music very infectious, which it really is. It's like it just bleeds into you, and I think that comes from the lyrical power and just the vibe it puts out. But what do you think needs to be done to keep this conversation rolling? Is it more protests? Is it more, because again, they don't seem to, like, especially here in America, and I'm sure it's the same way in the UK, it doesn't seem like they're listening to us. So do you feel like our voices need to be louder?
I think it's a collection of things. And, it begins with our every single, I guess, action. Like, for example, deciding which companies to support when you go for the groceries, or when you pay your electricity bill, where is that electricity coming from? Are you supporting like greener energy, or the old oil? So it's that it's protest, peaceful protest. I think it's art. I think art and music, and I guess all forms of art have a responsibility in some ways. If art isn't going to encourage change, what is? I think a collection of things, and we keep putting pressure on the big companies through our money, through what we purchase, and keep putting pressure on the politicians, showing them what it is we really want. Ultimately, they should be representing us, and if the us is a majority of people who believe in the climate emergency, the social change that is required to make the world a better place, then they will have to listen, because if they don't, they won't be re-elected. Maybe I'm talking in a very, I guess, utopian way, perhaps, but I truly believe that it is what we need, a collection of things that drive the same message.
I feel the same way. Sorry for starting this interview very heavy. It's like we came at you straight, I pulled no punches. I was just like, I need to know. But again, that sets the tone for what's about to come. But yeah, like in Malta, that I heard there, two of the other initiatives that I will be promoting with this podcast will be the Music Declares Emergency, and the Choose Love. And I was curious because the migrant issue in your home country of Malta has kind of like started to make news too. So I was just curious if there's a lot of things going on in this world that seem to be.
Yes, I think there are, and it's really important that we give them the importance that they need. And maybe it's not everybody's kind of area of expertise, but at least lend your support. It's interesting. Yeah, the migration crisis is quite.
It's such a difficult
Yeah,
problem.
It's a difficult thing. Yeah.
It's very easy to say it shouldn't be a problem, of course, and we totally believe that all humans should be treated equally. At the same time, we really, really understand that it's not an easy problem to tackle, and I think it should be a problem tackled by more than one country at the same time.
Right.
Yes, but I also believe that it's human lives at the other end, and
100%. It seems like me and Deborah are having a conversation
Yeah,
now.
that
I
sounded
am
like-
definitely not justifying
Yeah.
that there should be a problem. I am simply saying that I think if anyone had a solution, it would happen.
Yeah.
It would be implemented. It's really a difficult problem to say. It's like, I don't know.
I think
it shouldn't be a problem, definitely, and I think the solution to it is probably going back in the past and solving issues that happened in the past that led to this.
Yeah, I guess it stems from my country, your country. Where does this come from? And if you just remember that these, you don't just spend all your life savings to go on a boat with no safety and no safety measures and
risking your family.
Yeah, so people won't do that if they weren't if they didn't really need help. So I think if we get off our high horse and think about that, I think the actions will be will reflect the crisis that we are in. And you mentioned Malta, and because of its geographical location, yes, it does get lots of immigrants coming in, and all I can say is if we can be the first point of safety for these people, then
Support,
why not?
Yeah, more light on the situation brings about far more change than just forgetting about it. So, we'll just deal with it later. No, this is an issue that needs to be handled right now.
Exactly. Yeah, we have to be honest with it.
Yeah.
So that's a weird transition, but congratulations on all the new music success. It's you have one hell of a way to make a transition. It's really nice to have this type of music in our pipeline, because it's a real conversation starter, and also it's something that's very introspective. So first, I would love to talk about the To the Earth EP, which is a collection of 4 covers of some of your favorite artists, and that pull apart like lyrics that mean so much. I was just curious, like, what has the response been like for this project?
It's so yeah, as you said, it's a project that we sort of created during lockdown.
Yes.
We're lucky enough to be able to record at home, so lockdown didn't stop our recording, and it was actually the opposite. It stopped obviously live performances, but we managed to write and record more music, and we've always wanted to somehow release some covers.
Mm-hmm.
And Deborah, I think it was you that came up with this idea of creating a, I don't know if it was because we liked one of the songs and then ended up liking a second song, but before you know it, we had these 4 tracks, that link from one another and tell a story, even though the lyrics and obviously the music was written years apart. I would say one of the songs was in the 60s, and there are songs that are written in 2010s.
Yeah.
So that was the interesting part, and I think, as you said, the message is quite strong in there. In terms of how it was received, I think people realized that there's a big connection relating to our music and relating to our message, as you previously mentioned. So I don't think it was received as a cover in itself. It was more received as part of the message that we are trying to send. That's how
It's like a mission statement,
if you like. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it's like incorporated into kind of everything we do. and this is the way we chose to tell the story. So for people who haven't heard it yet, it's a collection of starts off with Big Yellow Taxi, Joni Mitchell, written in 1970, goes on to Borders by MIA, written in 2016, which is big around, the refugee crisis and I guess diversity, something we're really passionate about. And then it goes into Radiohead's Idiotech from 2000, which, talks about how, what we're talking about really is happening and we're not scaremongering, which I find very powerful. And then we decided to close it off with What a Wonderful World from 1967, Louis Armstrong, which is just, a beautiful song that everybody knows, or almost everybody knows. And it just, reminds you of, actually, it is a beautiful world, and we really need to kind of come together to make it, to keep it alive, to keep it healthy, and to make it better for everybody.
And it also has hope. Was there a challenge in finding your voice in these classic tracks?
I think, I do have to say John's guitar melodies over these songs really, not sure what the word is, but like picked them up from, where they otherwise would have been, and elevated them is the word. Elevated the tracks, and the very dreamy and soundscapey, and the melodies he created for the songs are really, really, really beautiful. And I think that's what's, I guess, gives our own stamp, like identity.
Our own little soundscape to them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Was there other options? Did you have like a laundry, like a notepad full of various songs that you would like to piece together, or were these the four that you knew concretely?
So actually, we created a Spotify playlist and did lots of research.
Yeah, I think we did that.
About maybe 16 songs we had.
There was something from Linkin Park.
Yeah, which we tried, but then kind of didn't quite work.
I think one of the challenges was definitely simply choosing the song and trying to replicate it as a cover, but also giving our sound and our stamp and our feeling to it, and as much as possible emphasizing the message that we are trying to portray, which is of course the same message that the original writer wanted to portray, but we are focusing on that specifically rather than the music elements and the production that the original song had to go through. So when we tried different songs, like I don't know why Linkin Park comes to mind. I think we tried one of the Linkin Park songs.
I think so as well. Yeah.
And we just felt like we would make it. We
wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah, we wouldn't have done a good job with that. I don't know. It just didn't. Yeah, sometimes it felt better to just leave the song there and not too much. You don't want to be trying too much.
Mm-hmm. We had to go through a process as well of learning the songs because we didn't know all of the songs. And there was one song in particular from like the 50s or something that was so cool. And I'm going to try and find it for you and tell you what it is. But in the end, we didn't use it.
It's very political and I'm
gonna find the place.
Very direct, but in a I think in a funny comic way.
Yeah.
Oh, like in an ironic kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How are you gonna find it?
Because you made the playlist and I'm on your Spotify now, but I can't find
it. I'll keep looking during the interview.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's fine. So I have a feeling that there might be a sequel to this project somewhere down the road. Or are you just happy with this nice little poetry piece?
I think it is possible. We haven't thought about it, but yeah, it is possible, and we really enjoyed it because it kind of takes you away from having to write the best song you've ever written, which is kind of the mental space we find ourselves in, unfortunately, every time we're kind of writing a song. So it takes you away, and the writing's done. You just have to put your twist on it. But yeah, it was really exciting.
It was also exciting to find ways on how to promote this how to promote
yes.
this EP, how to promote these songs, and we created little videos
Mhm.
that we filmed ourselves. Some of them were in parks, some of them were
Forests.
in forests. Yeah, that's true. And there was another one that we released today. Oh, that was in Wales,
Mhm.
countryside. And we used these clips and we overlaid Deborah's handwriting of the describing the lyrics, basically.
Yeah, the text.
And again, we didn't know any of this when we first recorded the songs or when we released them, I think, did we?
Yeah.
We sort of...
The creative juices start flowing and start finding new ways of kind of promoting. So we promoted via these little clips of text and me reading the lyrics, and then also
oh, that's it. Yeah, you reading the lyrics was the first idea. You wanted
Yeah.
to read the lyrics and have a video of yourself,
something.
maybe, or of something.
Yeah,
or of...
and then we put this together.
So its advert is sort of promoted as poetry, as you correctly said. And obviously on Spotify and other platforms you'll find the music.
But also we made videos up on our rooftop upstairs, as in upstairs where we are.
About that. We've got a rooftop terrace in our building, and we took our equipment up there and we performed our song and we filmed ourselves. We haven't released those clips yet though.
And there's a skyline as well of London. So
really
that was
nice.
exciting to film just 2 minutes after it started raining, as it does in London. and then we had to rush and leave with our equipment. But yeah, those were fun to make as well. Oh, by the way, I found that fun song I was referring to. It's called Pollution, and it's by performed by Adam Kay, but I think it's in an album called The Remains of Tom Lehrer, Lehrer. It's so cute though. It goes pollution, something like that. It's very tongue-in-cheek. And that was one of the contenders, but didn't make it because we couldn't do it justice.
Yeah, I was curious about, because all the lengths for the covers is like a minute. Do you hope that everyone listens to it in like one sitting, like in one long song for about 4 minutes?
Exactly it, yeah.
Yeah, we picked the parts that kind of made sense in the story and let them flow into each other. So it's the equivalent of probably one song in duration, but it's split into 4.
And I think the order, we specifically chose the order of the songs as well to portray what we were explaining before in terms of the message and ending on a positive note, with the last song being "What a Wonderful World."
And speaking of social media, has it been fun, like trying to create clever ways of trying to make your message heard from the endless ocean of the internet waves?
It is fun, but it's constantly fighting against bots and algorithms that sort of dictate what should be seen on people's feed and what shouldn't, based on, of course, AI and what they think is more likely to be seen.
But we always have a good time making these little bits.
I really enjoy it, yeah, and I think we've become pretty efficient at it as well. We used to spend maybe a day or more, and now in the same day we can create the content and release it, which is pretty good.
A good challenge that we were, I guess, we were faced with a challenge at the start of lockdown, and we acted really quickly and created a series of Instagram live shows, which we curated every week. Every Sunday at noon, we'd have an artist, and we've had artists from the UK, all over the UK. We've had artists from Austria, and also 3 artists from America, 1 in LA and 2 in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Pennsylvania. Nah, not Pennsylvania. Philadelphia. Sorry, it's the P. Sorry, Philadelphia. That went on for 16 weeks. So looking back at that, we're really pleased with how quickly and creatively we acted, if we can say so ourselves. We're not really very humble, but yeah, that was a really cool way of creating something good from something that wasn't as good, which left artists not kind of being able to perform for a while, and still not being able to perform nowadays.
So is the Common Ground sessions, are they going to come back eventually, or are you just happy with the 16?
Who knows?
Yeah, we do hope, to continue to curate, but we've no definite kind of plans yet.
Yeah. We've had ideas to even take them maybe live when live gigs can happen again in the world. It would be interesting to see how Common Ground can, be physical, as in people performing live, and also
give them a
maybe
platform.
live stream as well. Yeah,
But there was something quite special about the if that's even a word.
Spontaneous.
No, how instant
Oh.
you could communicate with the artist. So like if you wanted to say great song, you just wrote a comment saying, great song, and then the artist would see it after the song finished. So it created an interesting new way of performing. We did it twice on Common Ground and a few other times for other platforms. And if I'm honest, I do miss, live is very special. I do think that live actually is very special. But this was a good kind of second option, I think, for the while.
Yeah, a lot of our past interviews have said that they don't feel an energy from those live performances, and without like one or two people in the background. Is that weird for you to perform to the empty space of the internet?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. When you're performing live, there's a lot of vibrations going on. Just not just, sound vibrations, of course, that you can feel, because the sound systems are all better than what you're gonna have through your phone, and also the energy that people provide. I guess even just being there and applauding, and sort of the loudness of it gives you that energy. We found that to be very difficult. But as Deborah said, there was the other aspect, which is different, and you would not get live, which is people can comment, like, and
cheer you on.
I would say virtually and silently, but the comments were there. So you'd have to perform in a different way. We used to split our set in sort of giving, actual face time to the audience, and making sure that we can see all the messages and reply to all the messages, which is something that you don't do when you're performing live in other venues, because people are there with their friends, and they just hop along.
So is it strange releasing music in this current environment without like the possibility of touring? Like, is it just something that like you really want to get back to, or are you happy with this challenge yourself in the bedroom and just keep releasing music?
I guess touring was in our plans for perhaps next year. We didn't have any kind of tours planned this year, but we do, of course, regularly perform in London. So that's the missing kind of, that's what we missed. But I can understand how difficult it was for artists who do tour regularly and who did have tours planned. For us, releasing music in these times, I think worked okay. People wanted to listen to new stuff and wanted to remain connected with what other people are doing. So I think there was some...
It's got its advantages. In terms of missing, I do miss performing live.
Absolutely.
I do miss the buzz of it. In terms of how lockdown sort of made it possible to release music, maybe release more often, I think that was a plus, I would say, if there was one in lockdown. And also I think journalists and people had more time to listen to music and investigate new music, and I guess even write about new music. I think more people had more time on their hands, generally, which I think was a positive thing for us.
Yeah, I certainly did. The amount of energy that I put into the website after the lockdown happened has bloomed into an amazing fan base and amazing listeners. So I felt that. I felt like it was really necessary. Plus, it was also nice to be like, I'm just going to focus on this. And a lot of people said that just focusing on the new music, because you also just dropped the Stay EP, which is a great transition, which is now available everywhere. Do you consider this EP to be like a debut for both of you? Because I know you have released sort of past EPs before, but do you consider this like a new start to Berne?
Yeah, so we released our first single as Berne in this form as a duo in September 2019, which was Oceans. And then since then, we continued to release music again under the same name and I guess brand. We have been in other bands before together as well. But yeah, this is, I guess, very much separate and its own thing. Yeah, so the Stay EP is the debut EP. It collects 3 singles which people know and heard, and then a new single called Heat, and then there's a bonus track as well, which you would have to go to your streaming platform to find out what that bonus track is. Yeah, we're really pleased. I don't think we would have imagined last year when we first released Oceans that we would a year later be where we are. There was a lot of planning towards it, of course, and especially during lockdown and being at home and having all this time allowed us to do a lot more planning and strategizing as to where we're going. But honestly, if someone had told me last year at our release party on the 20th of September 2019 that a year later we'd be releasing a whole new EP, I'm not sure I would have believed them.
It's almost a year later to date, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just 5 days
was
later.
Oceans released on the 20th of September? Do you remember the
So,
date?
yeah, 20th
Wow.
September. Yeah.
It's not a great anniversary for y'all. It's like 1 year.
It is, yeah.
1 year.
Yeah, I especially love Heat, and I can't wait for. Well, hopefully everyone's listened to it. Otherwise, what are you doing? Go down in the comments below and listen. But yeah, it's like. But did it start off as the first single, and you guys were just like, we're happy with this, and we'll see how it evolves, or did the objective for all these tracks come from the start, or was it just something that just evolved as you worked through things?
I think it was a constant evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. The songs, so we had, by the time we released Oceans to the Lions was written, and so was Heat. And there's a theme within the songs, and then Stay came along in about January, and then we released it in May, I think. And again, it was around positively working together to create change. And yeah, I think I'm not sure exactly when we decided to collect them into an EP, but it was not the initial intention. We like to say that we were testing the waters. We still are.
Mm-hmm.
And we were testing the waters with Oceans. Excuse the pun.
Intended.
And you're always learning. You're always trying new things. And then the EP happened, and we're actually really excited to start making new music as well as promote this EP, because we really believe in it. But yeah, there's a thirst inside me, at least, to just like schedule some just jamming days and get going with new songs and soundscapes. Yeah,
it will happen soon.
Is it easier to know that this project is done? And I was wondering, do you have a new perspective about this project after working completely through it? Like, any dominant feelings come to mind?
I always have feelings, so I'm gonna let John answer this one.
I have to dig deep for my feelings.
You?
I think the strongest feeling is the message that we're portraying with these songs and with Berne existing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thread that sort of links all the songs. It doesn't matter what what the production is or how long the song is or whatever. I think that thread is quite a strong one. So I feel very positive and sort of blessed, I would say, that came to happen, and that this EP means what it means, which is what we spoke about earlier in the interview. And I'm energized to sort of write new music that continues to inspire and continues to bring hope, and hopefully continues to bring collective change.
Absolutely. Very similar feelings we have, you and I.
Nailed it.
But yeah, I think, closing the project, and then as we were planning what to do, again, like the creative juices start flowing, and we landed on the idea of creating a low impact website, which ties in really, really well with what we're doing as a project. And it's kind of, we feel at least like it's, the cherry on the cake, to continue to drive the message that we're hoping to drive.
I'm completely trying to understand. Tell me about this this low impact website, because I've only just heard recently about it due to your information about it. It's very cool. It's like it takes from, it's all green based. I'm totally intrigued.
Go for it, John.
Yeah, it is totally green based in our case, but I wouldn't say that a low impact website has to be green based. But speaking for Berne, I would hope that people would try to get their website hosted on green systems. So when we say low impact, what we're trying to say is we're trying to raise questions, I guess. Things like, have you thought of, have you ever thought about how the internet needs electricity to run, and how much electricity is needed to run, and obviously how much data is transferred to a person's device for them to load all the images and all the videos that are present on a site, and also where are these websites hosted, what sort of electricity are they using to run, because people might know of cloud and they might know of servers, but really and truly they're just someone else's computer that is always on and needs electricity to run. That's the summary, right? That's the truth. So what we're trying to do is, we realized, okay, an artist website doesn't necessarily need to have 20 videos and a music video for each of the songs, and doesn't have to be Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, and all the socials in one page. Maybe people come to an artist website to find different information, to learn something more about the artist that they couldn't learn on other socials or on other streaming platforms. So when we thought about that, then we realized how many people actually come to our website to watch the latest video. They'll probably go to YouTube. How many people come to our website to listen to our songs? They probably go to any streaming platform that they prefer. So combining those two ideas, we thought then we don't want to be sort of using, I would say, even wasting this energy, this electricity to provide this information. Instead, we're going to use a low impact website, which is hosted on 100% solar powered energy in California. And it's important to note the 100%, because I know that some hosting companies would use some sort of crediting system where their energy is not 100% green, but they're sort of offsetting it by other means. Whereas this company has their own solar panels and their own sort of eco-friendly powering systems. So it is going to be 100% powered on site by solar, I believe even atmospheric and water cooling in California, which is amazing. And I think it's such an easy thing to do. You just have, it's as easy as choosing, which TV provider to go with or which internet provider to go with. You just have to know of these things. And then secondly, the second important thing is, what are you presenting on your website? So we're doing away with any data heavy elements. We're doing away with videos, even images. We're just using what's known as SVGs, which is basically a line art, if you like. That's the closest thing to it. And they're super lightweight, and it obviously affects how fast the website is as well. It is super fast, because it doesn't have to spend time loading this data.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've done quite a bit of research actually about this, and we realized that the internet is actually a bit of a dirty place. Yeah, and it's not publicly dirty.
Yeah, even if you don't own a website and are an internet user, as I think we have all become, there are ways to kind of make sure that you're not doing extra things, like for example the Zoom calls that we've all been on for the past 6 months. Transferring video especially and constantly takes a lot of energy. So if you could, I guess, say hello on video and then switch off the camera and carry on the conversation, that would be much better. Loading constantly, like refreshing and loading Instagram, for example, there's a lot of images and videos, requires a lot of energy. And also that thank you email, which I do quite a bit. So thank you, and then no thank you, no thank you, an endless stream of like, cool, thank you. Those still require lots of energy. And one thing that I have started to do is unsubscribe from mailing lists that I guess do not serve me, because I receive these emails and I read them even though I'm not interested in them. So I just started to unsubscribe. I am of the camp of 0 emails in inboxes. To my left is somebody who has 15,000 at the moment unread email.
Yeah, I'm of the type of person that.
So you're actually more.
I need to unsubscribe. I am actually more
friendly because you don't read them.
I do not read them. Yeah.
What does that mean? Sorry, this isn't a question for John.
I think there's still data transfer to get that email to you.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, let's not be sort of we're really nitpicking here. I think that the whole idea is the small collective efforts that we can do as society to sort of improve I guess how we live and what sort of energy we use, and we hear a lot about what maybe food you should eat or where you should buy stuff, or to be sort of reduce plastic and recycle stuff, or even just try avoiding rather than having to recycle it. So we hear all about that, but we don't really hear much about the internet. So I think this just hit us. I don't know, we like the idea. We thought, hey, what if every sort of musician's website was a low impact website? Does it need to be? I'm sure it can be. You can even have a merch store if you want as a low impact website. Because ultimately you could just have a placeholder image saying the vinyl name, for example, and you can buy it. I mean, do people need to see
a vinyl before buying it? Probably not.
Maybe it could be like as a surprise thing. Yeah, that's the idea. So we're sort of encouraging website owners and also especially musicians to sort of come forward and hopefully like the idea and get in touch if you're interested, and we'll help you. We'll go through our research together and we'll sort of point you in the right directions. Definitely.
You might get an email from me because I am really curious about it.
Yeah.
So getting back to the record, I was just curious, was making these particular records, both EPs, any bit therapeutic for you as two artists?
In which way?
Therapeutic is an interesting word. Yeah, I guess one memory I've got is Stay, when we recorded the song Stay within Stay EP. I love harmonies, and yeah, I had to list all of the harmony parts down onto a sheet of paper and slowly work my way through them. And it was it was very interesting because there was probably 2 days worth of just harmony recording. And yeah, when I'm in the zone and recording these harmonies, yeah, it's a wonderful feeling. And then listening to them all together, and then we produce them in a way, some of the parts in a way that you can't really, I guess, pinpoint them and affect them in a really cool way, and that's quite satisfying. But other than that, it's also a bit stressful when we record, isn't it? What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think something I recently learned, anxiety and excitement are very similar feelings, and it's very easy for the mind to sort of what's the word?
Kind of label it.
It's very easy to label it and
the wrong way.
I would say most of the times we decide to label it as anxiety, or at least that's what I do. So definitely there was a lot of excitement, and definitely there was a lot of just learning and sort of it's just exciting to write, record, and produce songs.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think it's been quite a sort of anxiety-inducing.
I think it's the deadlines. Because we
Yeah,
have
but
quite
also,
tight deadlines.
we've got that. I mean, everyone has deadlines. Everyone tries to be sort of not perfect, but everyone tries to create, the perfect body they can. Yeah. So I think all of these things just put a lot of pressure on us just as humans, I would say. And in retrospect, I can see that, and I can feel that it was exciting, and it was something I would love to repeat, which is why obviously we will be continuing writing new songs and producing and going through the whole process again, with a sort of evolved mindset, I would say. But I think, if I knew a year ago that anxiety and excitement can be very similar feelings, I think it would have been a different story. But now I know, and I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I go through it all the time. Anytime I release these episodes,
Yeah.
But the feeling you get after it's released to the world, even though you may find some flaws with things, like just that feeling of just feeling so accomplished, and say, I did this, I made this piece of art, and now it's theirs.
100%.
It's like you give it to the world and you say, now it's yours.
Yeah, I remember when To the Lions, the single, came out.
Yeah, it was a bad day.
It was
Sad day.
It was a sad day because Deborah, I mean, you can explain this if you want.
Yeah, so To the Lions came from such a place of pain when it was written, back, I guess, 2 summers ago. It's such a special song to me, personally, more than before kind of as an artist. And when we released it, yes, I felt like I was letting go of something that I wasn't ready to let go of yet. And I felt like it suddenly became, this is really dramatic, it suddenly wasn't mine anymore. It belonged to everybody now. And, people were free and also encouraged to give their comments on it. And every single comment, well, not every single comment, because I appreciated all the comments, but there were some comments were like, okay, maybe you should have done this, or you should have done this. And they were like, oh, in the heart, I felt them. It was a sad day. I cried as well.
Yeah, you cried a lot in the
I was having trouble letting go of it, but a week later I was feeling much better about it. But I'm sure that is because the song meant so much to me, and yeah, I felt it so much. It didn't quite happen with the other songs. It was more excitement with the other songs, possibly because I am attached to the other songs, but this one, To the Lions, is quite special. It's like my baby. And just today somebody said to us, like, To the Lions is their favorite, and I was jumping for joy. It's like I'm winning. I mean, they're all our songs, so they should all be treated equally. But
you've got your favorite, and that's fine.
But for me, To the Lions is something else.
My favorite is Heat.
Heat. Oh wow, interesting. I also really think Stay. When I listen to it, I just want to dance to it. And Ocean's powerful. But there you are, all our 4 kids are loved equally.
To the Lions is so beautiful, and you can really feel that you're channeling this voice, like this story within, and you're just letting it out. Oh, still gives me chills.
Thank you so much.
But I get a lot of that because your lyrics are really like they don't pull no punches. They are straight up in your face. But like, what do you hope the listener takes away from these wonderful projects, these pieces of art that you put out to the world, if anything?
So, so the answer is twofold. So, when we write the lyrics, we like to write them in a way that if the listener does not know what our message is, they can give their own interpretation. For example, To the Lions is a betrayal from the perspective of a farmed animal, but it could easily apply to betrayal from a friend or from an important person in your life. Perhaps Heat is a little bit more direct. Oceans, for example, is about the refugee crisis, but it's also reflections on like diversity and how different we are. So So we think that if people don't necessarily know our message, they might make their own interpretation, which we encourage, of course, because that's what music is. And the second one, second part of the answer is, we are putting in this music out there, as are lots of other activists or musicians and artists. We're putting this stuff out there in the hope that one of our things, pieces of art, videos, books, movies, is the tipping point that encourages people to perhaps dig into a more sustainable lifestyle. So for me, back about 3 or 4 years ago, it was a documentary that did it. For someone else, it might be a book. And collectively with all the other, artists, activists, all the, people who are creating things with a message, collectively putting this out there so that maybe one of us touches another person's heart, I guess. The tipping point kind of idea that makes me feel like, we're a part of something bigger, and yes, we are, and we're a part of a great big world that is beautiful and deserves to be celebrated and saved.
Most definitely. How important? Oh, go, John.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add. I think I totally agree with that, and which is why we also sort of branch out on what we just talked about, like the low impact website and things like that. We're looking at different ways to get into people's minds, I would say, and get them to think about, oh, I could do this in a different way and achieve a different result, but not necessarily a worse result.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be another tipping point there. So I totally agree with you.
Thanks.
And going back to the reinterpretations, the remixes that you guys have put out so far have really taken your wonderfully lyrically conscious tracks and given them like a different spin. I was just curious, like, what kind of, like, how does that affect your message? Like, do you feel like it gives it new light, or does it the art of the remix when it comes to these conscious lyrical tracks? Because it, like, they can be very like dance heavy. It's like, just, I also it makes it, I don't know what it is, but it made it kind of easier to digest at times. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I guess in the remixes generally, the lyrics are shorter. We encourage the remixers to pick kind of something that speaks to them and use it repeatedly. So yeah, they're a bit shorter, as in the message it's still in there, but in a more abridged way. And I think the focus of the remix is kind of more in the music, I would say, more in a way of kind of showing different sides to the song.
Also, the remixer putting their own
absolutely
interpretation to the sound.
We really love being surprised when we receive the remixes, and so far we've got one with Joanna Astrom, who did Oceans, who we really loved working with. She's one of our very good friends as well and colleagues. And then with Control, we worked on Stay, and it got played on BBC Introducing here in the UK as well, which we are really, really excited about, and they continue to support us now. And yeah, it's just giving the song a different angle, and one that appeals to perhaps a different segment of the audience.
Yeah, I think the textures and the sounds chosen by the producers of the remix are different. I think as together with our message, we also have our sound that defines Berne. And I would say generally that is a dark sort of ambience driven sound, which maybe together with the strong lyrics may be harder to digest for some. You might need a few listens, but maybe with something a bit more ear friendly, like a remix, and that maybe can make it easier. Maybe that is why. I don't know. I just thought about it now.
Yeah, we do like our remixes, and we hope to put these remixes in a project that collects them. So that will be coming in a bit, let's say.
Spoilers. So I feel like we've touched on a lot of things, and thank you for being so open and honest with all these topics. I really do appreciate it. As we close this interview, you have a lot of things to promote. Deb, Gianluca, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us in the first place, and thanks for asking really interesting questions. I mean, we love talking about this, and I think
forever.
Yeah, so thank you.
I guess if you're listening, if you enjoyed this, you can of us, music, and our inner thoughts, I guess, online on our social media, kind of on Instagram mostly at Sounds Like Berne, but also check out our new low impact website, berneofficial.com. Berne is spelled Berne. And yeah, I hope you enjoy listening to our music. And
if you want to be the first to listen to new music, then I think following us on Spotify or on Apple Music, whatever streaming platform you use, we found is the best way to immediately be notified by the platform when music is going to be out.
Yeah, or even better, slide into our DMs and let's chat.
Message us.
Yeah, we'd love to chat. We'd love to connect with people who listen to our music. Yeah.
This episode of That Buzzin' Sound was recorded and edited using a variety of free applications like Audacity and Discord, and is available on such streaming platforms as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, while being fully hosted on Anchor FM. And for more information about XR, Music Declares Emergency, and Choose Love, please check out the links below.